A lot of people that go on the journey of self-improvement or self-development fall into a trap I like to call the one step forward and then the one step back syndrome. And this is where they make some progress, they stick with things for a bit, and even start seeing some changes in their life as a result. But then something happens, some chaos comes up, or things get a bit rocky. Most in this circumstance then get fearful and end up stepping back into their comfort zone. And then once they feel safe and they've taken that step back, they take the step forward again, then back, and the cycle keeps repeating. Now this feels like progress because during that time where you are taking the step forward, you feel pretty good, things seem to be moving, and you seem to be gaining some momentum. However, because when things actually start to change, you take that step back, no progress is really being made at all. If we were to actually look at it on a graph, we would actually see that you are staying in place with only the illusion of progress. It would actually be a straight line. A great example of this are those who fall into a challenge that we can call retreat syndrome. And so what this is it happens to many of the people who go to events, seminars, and so on that are typically a weekend long or even a week long. Now, a lot of these events are great. I've been to many myself, but it's all going to depend on what happens after the event, not necessarily what's happening during it. You see, a lot of people go to these events, they get a boost of energy, but then go back to their comfort zone the minute they return home, or at least a few days after returning home. Once that energy has faded, they go right back to their regular routine. Again, that event, that energy they got from it, the inspiration they got for it, allowed them to take that step forward, but then they go back into their comfort zone, don't integrate it, don't make the changes for that step forward to make a lasting impression by taking another step forward and then changing the way you're moving. You see, it really is what you do at the moment of pushback from life, at the moment the storm comes up, that is going to make all of the difference. And the reason for this is something called the law of continuity. Now, this is a law that's always operating in your life. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can utilize this law and work with it to take quantum leaps in your development so that you can transform into a different way of living. Now, it's personally helped me from being broke to making over 20K a month in just a few months when I first started doing this. And it will work in all other areas of your life as well. And it's also something I have taught to clients who have used it to amazing effect, like Tyson here, who used it to expand his income to 20K in a month as well.
Let me just say this shit's working, like, big time. I went from being on the back roads to the interstate. Everything's moving really, really fast. April was the most money I've ever made in my life. I made like $20,000 last month, in 1 month, and then like I'm already off to $5,000 this month. So like this month's going really good too. Like everything's falling into place right now.
And before going through the program, Tyson was struggling financially. He was struggling to make a few thousand a month, let alone making 20K in a month. And after going through the program, after only a few months actually, he made that 20K in a month through utilizing laws like the law of continuity, which you're going to learn about today. Now, for a lot of you, this may be the missing piece when it comes to reality creation. It is something that can truly make all of the difference. I've seen it happen for so many people where they are doing great in all the other things. Again, they're raising their consciousness, they're raising their energy, they're really cultivating that inner world, they're taking that one step forward powerfully, which is a great step, it's a great move, it's part of the process. But then when it comes to this, they take that step back and always limit their results, never getting that true transformation that they're looking for. So in this video, I'm going to share a story of how I actually used this intentionally in my own life to amazing effect a few years ago, and then we'll go over how it works and how you can use it too to transform your life. So first I want to share this story from my own life of how I utilized this law and what I did so you can gain some experience and some knowledge from that to see it kind of in action. And then we're going to break it down. What is this law? How does it work? And more importantly, what are some tools and exercises you can use that I actually used during this story that are going to help you to apply this even more effectively. So the story starts with a situation I was going through where I was aiming to shift my business from what I was doing to essentially what would evolve into what I was doing now. And what I was doing before was completely different. I was a football coach actually and a football player, and I made content online and other things, and that was my business. And it was a full-time business. It served me really well, but I knew in my heart it was time to move on. It was something that started to feel heavy. There was this new thing that I wanted to move into, and I really needed to take that plunge into this new thing. However, this other thing I was doing before was my main income, and this new thing wasn't really making that much to where I could substitute it in like that practical linear way in which we all wish we could, right? So this one is sustaining me, and when this one is ready to sustain me, when it's already at the income level, then I'll switch. But reality was not really presenting me with that option. And there were already, I think, a couple of times where I tried to go, okay, I'm no longer gonna do this business I'm already doing, and I'm just gonna do this one. But what ended up happening, as soon as things got a little tough, or there was resistance and the money started going down, I got scared a couple times and went back to working on the other business, and then got my bank account up to a healthy amount again, switched back, same thing happened, and I went back to this one. And so I knew, because I knew this information, I had already had experiences with it, that in order for me to get to the next stage, I just had to let go of this, and when the storm of having less finances came in, it was getting a little hard and difficult, that I just needed to stick with the new thing I was doing. I knew it was right, I knew it was the right choice to make, and I knew that things were gonna work out if I just stuck with it, and I was just going to have to embrace the chaos and storm that came up from losing the finances of the other business. Again, I wasn't gonna be able to do both. They were on divergent paths, and again, the one I was currently on with the old business no longer aligned, I was no longer into it, and it was time to evolve past it. So I had made this decision, and then cut to, I think, a couple of months later, and we were aiming to get a visa for the country we're currently in now, a longer visa, a year-long visa. But in order to do this, we needed to pay a lot of different expenses. We needed to pay for the visa. There was a lot of expenses that just came out of nowhere all at once, all at the same time. We needed to pay to cancel the current visa we were currently on, and we needed to fly to another country, a neighboring country, to go to the embassy there in order to get the visa and then re-enter the country we're currently in. So not only was I making way less money and the bank account was being drained as I was working on this new business, but now all of these expenses kind of came out of the blue and started stacking up. Now, of course, a little bit of fear and a little bit of panic started to set in, and the old behavior and old pattern, the old story of going back to the safe business that was still there, it was still developed, I could go back to it if I really wanted to, that temptation kept coming up because, oh, well, just do this so you can get through this. But I know how these processes work. If I did that, went back and just made enough to get through this, then switched back, the same thing would just happen again. A new circumstance that was the same would show up until I finally committed to this new path. And so this time I did not go back. I went, no, I am committed to this. This is what I'm doing. I am not going to go back to the comfort zone and the safety zone just because there's a little bit of pressure, a storm, a little bit of chaos. I know I need to embrace this. Now, while we were in this other country waiting for our visa, there was a delay in our paperwork that we needed from the place that was giving us our visa. They said it would be here at a certain time, and now they said it wouldn't be. So we had to stay in this other country for about a month. Actually, I think a little bit longer, much longer than we had intended. This was going to cost us even more money because we were still paying for things back in the other country, for like rent in the place we had and everything else. Now we had to pay for an Airbnb here, we had to pay for flights and transport and everything else. So again, the money kept draining from my account. And again, I was feeling the pressure, but it was at a certain point I remembered my training, I remembered the principles that you're going to learn today, and again, I decided, all right, if I really believe in this stuff, and I've experienced it before, it wasn't my first time doing it, I need to demonstrate that now no matter what is happening in the outside world, no matter what is happening in my circumstances, I have to utilize these principles and embrace the bends, embrace the chaos, and use the law of continuity to my advantage because I know that's what's happening. Things are just being cleared out to make room for the new coherence that's going to come in my life. And so what I did while we were in this other country is I started to stick with my knowingness and started to lower the importance and release attachment to the outcome. You see, I knew I lived in a friendly universe that had my best interests at heart, so it was time to fully move with faith that that was so. It was time to live the mantra of doing the work and trusting the process. And so what I made my main goal about a week or two into this trip was I'm just going to raise my energy, raise my frequency, really cultivate the inner world the best I can, and then embrace the bends that start coming up, to embrace the chaos, and to lower the importance. And so I was doing certain meditations every single day. I was reading this material and reminding myself of how it works, immersing myself in that energy. I was doing breath work. I was doing all, reading material, doing certain exercises to really cultivate that inner world. Any anytime that certain negativity started to come up or something was trying to hook me in the situation, like, oh man, the money's going, you gotta go do the other thing, or everything's kind of going up in flames here, you gotta do something about it, I used certain tools to get myself out of that and back into a great place energetically. And some of these tools I'm gonna give you for when this happens to you. When I started doing this, things began to change really quickly. One of the first things that happened is we were told, again, we were going to get our paperwork for the visa late. Not on time, but late. And the problem with that was our appointment at the embassy was before the date, the new date they said it was going to arrive. And so, of course, our first instinct was to worry, but I said, wait a second, let's embrace this chaos, let's embrace the bends, let's not get hooked in, let's lower the importance, and everything's going to be great. I knew that when I lowered the importance, a solution would present itself. And what ended up happening is not only did we get the papers on time, we got them early instead of late. And so we were supposed to get them on like the 20th or 21st, I can't remember exactly what it was, and we got it on like the 17th or 18th. We actually got it earlier than what was expected. Another thing that started happening as I started embracing these bends is money started coming in. A client out of nowhere for the new business actually came in, and it was worth a lot of money to me. And so almost immediately after doing this, some money came in that made the financial situation stable to where I didn't need to worry about that. And again, I wasn't worrying about it because that was a part of the process, but then this money came in. It was almost as if I said, okay, now I'm gonna really let go of this old business and I'm not gonna go back to it even when shit hits the fan, right? And then a client out of nowhere, who I wasn't talking to, they just came in out of nowhere, decided to work with me, and we signed them up. And so for the rest of the trip, we were able to enjoy ourselves in this new country. We were going to the beach and all of these different things in the surrounding area. We got our visa and it was no problem, ended up being very easy and simple. We got back to the country we were living in and we had our visa and it was all simple. But what's even greater is once we got back to the country, this new business that I was now fully committed to, I came through that storm with and didn't go back to the old one, started blowing up. And so many more clients started coming in from seemingly nowhere. Now, none of this was accidental or coincidental, and when you learn and understand these principles, you'll see that that is absolutely the case. It was because of the law of continuity. While I was going through this, when I made the choice that I was going to embrace everything, I was aware of this law. Again, every single day I was reading about it, doing exercises to stick with it, doing things that helped me to keep my energy high, even when my circumstances seemed to be going, again, up in flames. And as a result of not getting hooked into the feedback in the sense of going backwards, things began to change very quickly. Now, this is not the only time I've experienced this because now I know to embrace the bends, and in the past I had done it as well. But it's a very powerful example of how something can seem like a very dire situation that most people would deem as something they should worry about and stress about, and that's the response. I need to hustle and grind my way out of this situation, or I need to go to what's proven to work in the past even though it doesn't align. But when you understand these laws and principles, you'll recognize that that's not necessarily the best move if you're looking to transform or move into the next phase of your life. So now I'm going to play you a clip from an older video I made which explains the law of continuity in a very detailed way and in a way that's understandable. It's going to use what's called the movie script analogy, which is a great way to paint this picture of how this works. And this is crucial. Again, if you don't recognize this law and don't utilize it when you're going on this journey, you'll keep taking that one step forward and one step back that I talked about earlier in the video. So let me play that clip and I'll see you here afterwards. So I'm going to lead up to this wisdom by giving you an insanely powerful analogy that we actually give some of our high-paying students and clients that is really going to paint a picture of how our reality works. So I want you to imagine that your life is like a movie. So you are living the life of your movie, or your movie is your life. So you're living the movie of you, whatever your name is, that is your movie. I want you to imagine that like on a movie, you have a movie set, you have script writers, you have like the other actors in your movie. So you have like secondary characters. Now I want you to imagine that what you're seeing in your everyday life is literally just the script of your movie playing out. So I want to make an important distinction here when it comes to this metaphor, to this analogy. So your life is this movie, right? And so you're playing out in the movie of you. But a lot of people think that they are the character on screen instead of the actor that is playing the character. So for example, one my mentor likes to make is Daniel Craig plays James Bond. So he plays James Bond. But is Daniel Craig James Bond? No, as soon as he leaves the movie set, he's Daniel Craig. He's just playing a character. And so to understand that in this movie of your life, you are simply playing a character that is adhering to a specific script that the script writers are making. There's a script, you are playing a character from that script, but you are the actor, you're kind of looking at the script and you're going on, you're kind of in the scene of your life, but behind the character is the actor. And this is kind of our true selves. This is kind of our energetic selves. This is kind of our higher self even, if you will. So just a distinction to make, you are playing a character, but you're really the actor in the same way that Daniel Craig is playing the character James Bond in the James Bond movies, but he's not James Bond. Most people get hooked into the character they're playing, forgetting that they're just playing a character and they are so much more. Now, your movie looks a certain way because of what the script writers are writing for you in the movie, right? So again, Daniel Craig plays James Bond. He's just acting out whatever is written in the script. The things showing up on set are whatever the script writers are writing into the set, whatever they're writing into the story. Now here's where it gets interesting. When it comes to the movie of your life, you have certain script writers whose job is to write a certain genre for your movie. Now, how many people, for example, do you see who seem to be having a very dramatic, like drama, melodramatic type of life? It's always got this gossip and all these things are happening to them all the time and they're complaining all the time. Well, the reason is because they have script writers who are writing a melodramatic script, right? So by design on this movie set of their life, which is your physical world, by the way, so the movie set represents your physical life, it's gonna bring in people that fuel that drama. It's gonna bring in events that fuel that drama. And as long as you think you're the character and it's all happening to you, you're gonna get hooked into this and not know how to move on to a different set that has different script writers. So how do you start changing your reality so that you're not living based on this drama-based script that these script writers are giving you? Now here's what most people do, is they go up to the script writers and they start yelling at them. They start trying to take the pen out of their hand and write it themselves. But this is not the way to do it. As soon as you walk away, the script writer is just going to cross off whatever you wrote and put back in the drama script. Now, why is this? It's because the script writer at the level you're currently at, it's their job to give you whatever script you're getting. But how do we change the script? Well, it's not about trying to influence the script writers wherever you are. Well, you have to understand, it's like having like a 10-story building, and on each different level of that building are different script writers that are writing completely different scripts. Okay, so I hope you're with me so far. Each of those scripts lead to a different style of movie, a different genre. So on one floor, the lower levels, you have things like a guilt script, you know, a very kind of low conscious script. You have things like a drama, you have things like a horror movie, so it's fear-based at those lower levels. But as you go up the levels in this building with different script writers, you start having action and adventure. You start having comedies. You start having, you know, profound movies that move you emotionally. So the question is, how do we move up the building? Well, it's very simple. You hook yourself out of being the character and realize that you're actually the actor playing a character. And you see that you're on this movie scene. You're in this movie scene on this set, and it seems to be drama-based. Now, the scriptwriters are there. You understand at this point that going up to them and asking them to change it is fruitless, because that's their job. They're on the drama floor. They're produced and paid to write a literal drama. So they're not going to change that. They're not going to take input from you to completely change the script that you've agreed to play in, even if you didn't know you agreed to do it. So what do? We walk up to the elevator and we press up. It really is that simple. And this is where this missing puzzle piece comes into play. So if you've ever felt in line with this analogy that you've actually done that, so things are kicking up in your outside world, you're in this drama thing and you're just like, you know what? I know that my inner world leads to my outer. I know this is fine. I'm just going to not hook into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise my consciousness. I'm just going to raise my energy. I'm going to be in a high vibration despite all that's happening. Now, what you may have experienced is that means you stepped into the elevator because you're raising your consciousness and you're moving up to a new floor. And let's say this new floor is now like a more, you know, just kind of witty, kind of fun kind of movie, like action-oriented movie. So you've moved up. You're now on this floor because the drama was happening on the set in the other floor, and you're just like, okay, that's happening. I'm not going to resist it, but this is the drama floor. So if I don't want a drama, I need to choose a new level in the building that just has different script writers. So you move up to the next level. And this is where this piece comes in, because this happens to people. They move up that level. And if you ever notice, like, you kind of do that, but then you kind of seesaw between two levels. So maybe the drama script, and then you're like, oh my God, now my life is all flowy and action oriented and adventurous. Oh wait, now I'm back on the drama. Oh, I'm back here again. And you're kind of like going up and down. Well, this is why this happens, because very few people understand what I'm about to give you right now. And this is called the law of continuity. What happens when people don't understand the law of continuity? So here we go. This is how the law of continuity works, right? So you move up floors, and there you go. You're on this new floor of action, adventure, and everything else. But here's the thing. If you expect, just because you're on this floor that snapped like that, all of that's gonna form and now all the drama stuff's gonna be gone, it can't, because of the law of continuity. You see, what actually happens when you move up the floors is the script writers on the floor you're currently on, so you're on the drama floor script writers hand you a copy of the script. And you take it up with you, and you have to because of the law of continuity. And so you're essentially taking that script up with you, you hand it over to the new script writers whose job is to write action, adventure, comedy. And they go, okay, so here's the script you've currently been working with. We need to write around this script. They can't just throw it out because it would break the law of continuity. It would ruin the game. So if you go from like so much drama and then you snap your fingers and now suddenly you're a millionaire with a perfect relationship and all these different things, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work, and the game would be broken, the movie would be broken, right? So there has to be the law of continuity. And what that means is, you are still gonna have a little bit of drama residue when you move up the floor from the script. But because these script writers write action, adventure, comedy, they're going to have to remove some of the things in your life that adhere to the drama comedy. So one way my mentor puts it, let's say in the drama comedy, or that's not drama comedy, but in the drama movie, you had a boss who was just he was awful, like just the worst boss on the planet, right? Now, why did you have that boss on the drama channel when you were playing the drama movie? Because you were on the drama floor. So the script writers wrote things in like that because you were on the drama level. It makes sense. You want drama in your life, having a terrible boss is definitely going to provide that. You want drama in your life, having a terrible partner that's not right for you is going to be that, right? But now that you're on this action, adventure, comedy floor, the script writers have to start writing out the boss, but they can't just snap their fingers and pretend the boss doesn't exist, right? So you might have to lose that job, or become fired. Or if you have a partner, you may need your partner to push your buttons finally to the point where you're like, this isn't right, and you break up with them or resolve it in some other way. And so through the law of continuity, they are going to have to write in some way that allows your script or allows your movie to start settling more on the action, adventure, comedy. They're going to have to remove or change some of the drama-fueled things from the previous script so that it makes sense. This is why when you start doing the work, you might lose your job. And many people I've worked with, this has happened. I had someone in my EMF program, so it's a 6-month transformation program that we run, and about 2 weeks into the EMF, she quit her job because, again, she moved up floors very quickly and she knew to trust it, quit her job, and guess what happened? She got a new one in a week with higher pay that she loved so much more. Now, why did this happen? Because she moved up floors, and instead of getting scared and going back down when she was going to lose the job and she was going to quit the job, and there would be another way that it left her, she didn't quit. She would have been fired, something would have happened, or she would have had to gone back down floors, which means lower her consciousness, which is not really a good thing to do, right, if you're trying to grow. And so what happened is she knew to quit it because she was on this higher floor, and we helped her through this. And then a new job showed up in a week. Because once that was written out of the script, it's like, oh, okay, bring her a much more relevant job for the script that she's on right now. When you move up in the building to a higher level of consciousness, to a more fun, favorable movie, the script writers on that new floor inherit the script from the previous floor. Most people start doing the inner work, right? You're doing the meditations, you're doing the affirmations, you're feeling great now. All these things are happening. But I almost guarantee if not much is changing in your life, you're kind of going up the floor, stepping out of the elevator, and then something kicks up, the so-called chaos, and you're like, no, and you go back down. Because you don't understand that through the law of continuity, the chaos has to be there. And your job is to embrace it, is to understand that if chaos is there, if you're doing the work in the way that we talk about, like you're really raising your consciousness and then there's chaos, that's just the natural process of change in life occurring. It's a good thing. It's moving things around. It's changing your movie set to adhere to the new script of the script writers on the floor you've moved up to. So how do we start applying the law of continuity in our lives so that's actually effective. So things are changing. So you're not taking that step backwards, but you're taking one step forward, embracing the storm, which allows you to take another step forward. And then if another one comes up, you embrace it, and essentially allows you to keep moving up in the elevator to better and better scripts that are more aligned to you. So first, we need you to move up in the elevator. And this again is by putting yourself out of balance so that it then rebalances in your favor. And what that means is understanding that the outer world follows the inner world, really getting that inner world place in a good place and keeping yourself there. Because when you do, new opportunities will start to present themselves. And it's through doing that inner world work that actually allows you to walk in the elevator and press up. Now, I'm going to give you a tool that I used in the story I mentioned all the time. I still use it, but I was using this multiple times a day whenever I found myself being hooked back into the old story or getting fearful or getting worried. And these are called amalgams. These are little phrases that you can say to yourself that help you get unhooked and help you, let's say, lessen the harshness of whatever's happening in the physical world so you can continue to root yourself in the inner world and maintain that high energy and vibration. So there are many that you can use. For example, one of my favorites is something positively amazing is unfolding for me now, or I live in a friendly universe. That reminds me of that fact so I don't get worried or hooked in or snagged by something. I'll put up on screen a list of different ones that can be useful, and you can also create your own. The whole idea here is it's supposed to dispel whatever's happening in the outer world and not allow you to get hooked. Because the less you get hooked and the more you can maintain an inner knowingness and root yourself there, that everything's going to be okay, that you're going to lower the importance, all these different things, the faster this begins to work. This is such a simple tool, but it works incredibly well, so I highly recommend using it often. Now, a huge thing that's going to help you continually move up in the elevator to higher and higher levels of script that are going to produce, movie sets that you're much more aligned and fulfilled with, is something called energetic transference and recognizing what the energetic transference of different things in your life are. You see, what you consume tunes your energy in a big way. Everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. We know this. Tesla said that. Science at this point confirms that everything is vibrating. Everything is energy. Everything is made up of what we call energy. And we could probably go even deeper than that. And so everything has a frequency. Even physical things, if you looked at them under certain instruments, you would see that they're vibrating, that they're energetic, that have just become so dense that they show up in this form that we call the physical rather than, say, pure energy or thought or whatever else. And so what you consume, not just eating, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about mentally, energetically, everything else, makes a huge difference in whether you're able to get in the elevator and go up. Because if, for example, you are watching things that have an energetic transference, let's say of fear or guilt or shame or drama, right? A lot of people are acting out drama scripts because they love watching the news or watching certain shows that are drama-based or gossiping about friends and family and all these other people. It's all this drama stuff. And so you're connecting to things that are at that level. And so of course you're on the drama floor. Of course you're acting out in a drama script. But if you were to switch the things that you were to consume that have an energetic transference that are much higher, let's say ones of abundance and gratitude and love and joy and peace and things of that nature, well, suddenly you'll find that you're in the elevator and pressed up. You'll start developing the habits that make that a much easier process, where you're able to maintain the inner world much easier. And so really pay attention to the books, the videos, the movies that you are consuming, your physical space, your environment. Is it something that's giving an energetic transference to you, kind of giving you energy that's raising it to higher levels? Or is it sucking it down? Even in physical environments, this can be the case. This is the idea of feng shui, right? Kind of the energy and the way you set up the environment to produce a certain energy or to be aligned to a certain energy, right? If you've ever gone into a home that's incredibly messy and disorganized, you probably felt a little crazy inwardly as well. There's a real thing to that. And so the more that you can bring things in that have an energetic transference that has a positive impact. Again, the people in your life, the videos that you watch, the books that you read. Books are a really good one, by the way. The more you do that at a higher level of consciousness, the easier it is to press up on the elevator. Because if you're no longer consuming that drama energy, well, you're no longer need to act in a drama script. It will almost feel unnatural to do so, and it will be much easier to get in the elevator and press up. Now, of course, one of the best ways to do this as well is doing what we can consider inner work exercises like meditation, like visualization. I really like breath work, and finding some of these that you can do daily or at least near daily that really help you, that you connect with. I have videos on meditations and visualizations, but it's really not necessarily the technique that you use. It's more finding one that helps you to, again, raise that inner state. Now, if this is something you're looking for guidance with, where you're getting some of the best energetic transference, you're sticking with it, and where we're gonna help you get to the point where you're at such a high energy, maintaining it long enough, we're gonna help you embrace the bends and the storms when they come up over a 6-month period, then you can check out our coaching program, EMF. It's the first link in the description down below to learn more. And this is one of those things where we show you how to do the work, trust the process, enjoy the journey, and get the results from that. Basically, we're gonna deep dive into so much of what I talk about in my videos and more, but the biggest thing is, again, over 6 months, you're gonna be exposed to an incredibly high level of energy. You're gonna be held accountable to stay there. You're gonna have help whenever you go down, and we're gonna help get you back up. So again, that you can utilize the law of continuity to start getting the results. So that when you have the temptation to start taking those steps back, we can help you not do that, embrace the storm, and take another step forward. Now, one thing that's also gonna help as a tool is understanding the law of balance at a deeper level, which I go over in this video. The law of balance and harmony is the predominant law of the universe. And so when you recognize what this is and learn how to use it in conjunction with the law of continuity, you're going to see so many more results in your life and true transformation occur as well.